Welcome to my channel. I hope you like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet this sweater. It's for boys and girls between 8 and 9 years old. Many of you have commented and asked that I make bigger sizes, so here's one more of my designs, and I hope you like it. Stay tuned for more. Now, this particular sweater here, like I said, is for 8 to 9 years old, but you can easily make it smaller or bigger. I say from 6 to 7 years old and up to 15 years old. Be sure to look in the information box for all of those sizes, and as always, if you prefer written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll be adding this pattern there as soon as it's ready. In the information box below, I'll also leave the link to my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for your support. Now, the yarn that I used is this here. I used two colors. This green is the secondary color and the primary color is the gray. Now you're going to need a total of 373 grams, 43 grams in the secondary color and about 330 grams in the main color. You can certainly make it all in one color. You will need less or more depending on the size that you make. Okay, I hope you like it, and without further say, let's get started, and thank you so much for watching. To begin, I'll be using this 3.5mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this DK weight yarn. At the beginning of the video, I showed you the yarn that I'm using, and I told you how much yarn I'm going to use for the size that we're making. Now, you will need less or more depending on the size that you make, and if you need the finished measurements, I always leave that information at the end of the tutorial. So here, to begin, I have a total of 80 chains. This chain without stretching is measuring about 43 centimeters, which is about 17 inches. Now the stitch multiple to this base chain is multiples of 4. So here, to begin, I'm going to join to the first chain, and once I do this, I need you to put this around the head. Make sure that it fits through. It's not tight or anything, because this is going to be the neckline. If for some reason this does not fit over the head, I already gave you the stitch multiple, which is 4, or you can use a slightly bigger hook size. So here, to begin, I'm going to join to the first chain like this. Make sure your chain is not twisted. And once here, I'm going to pull a loop and make a slip stitch to join. There, now we're joined. Make sure your chain is not twisted. So to begin here, with the first row, I'm going to chain 2. Now these 2 chains will never count as a stitch. So to begin here, into this first chain, which is the first chain that we joined to, I'm going to make a double crochet. In total, I'm going to make 3. So there's 1. Into the next chain, make a double crochet. That's 2. And into the next chain, make the third double crochet. Now into this next chain, I'm going to make a double crochet increase. So make 2 double crochets into this same stitch. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to make 1 double crochet into the next 3 chains. And into this 4th chain, I'm going to make a double crochet increase. And this is how I'm going to continue all around. Make 3 double crochets and into the next 2. Continue like this for this first row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this first row. In this row I have increased. Here's my last increase into the last chain. I have a total of 100 double crochets. Now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet, not the chains, but on top of the first double crochet, and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 2, I'm going to chain 2. Now in this row, what I'm going to do is front posts and back post double crochets. So beginning into this first double crochet, make a front post double crochet. Into the next, a back post double crochet. Into the next, a front post double crochet. Into the next, a back post double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue the second row, just alternating between a front post and a back post double crochet. Continue like this to the end of this second row. I'll meet you there. I'm here at the end of the second row. In this row I did front post and back post double crochets. I have 100 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 3, I'm going to chain 2. In this third row, I'm going to repeat the same thing I did in the first row. I'm going to make 3 double crochets, then into the next a double crochet increase. So let me show you. Beginning on top of this first double crochet, make a double crochet, that's 1, into the next, that's 2, and into the next, that's 3. Now into this next stitch, make a double crochet increase. So make 2 double crochets. And then again, I'm going to repeat the same thing. Make 3 double crochets, and into the next, a double crochet increase. Continue like this all around for this third row. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this third row. In this row I have increased. I have a total of 125 double crochets. My last increase was here at the end. I have the last 2 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 4, I'm going to chain 2. In this row, I'm also going to increase, and this is what we're going to do. I'm going to make 4 double crochets, and into the next, a double crochet increase. So let me show you. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, and into the next, a double crochet. That's 2, 3, 4. There, I have 4 double crochets, 2, 4. Now into the next stitch, make a double crochet increase. And this is how you're going to continue for the rest of this row. You're going to make 4 double crochets, then into the next a double crochet increase. And then again, repeat the same thing, 4 double crochets, and into the next a double crochet increase. I'll meet you at the end of this 4th row. I'm here at the end of the 4th row. In this row I have increased. I have a total of 150 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet and make a slip stitch. Now for row 5, chain 2. Now in this 5th row, I'm going to make front post and back post double crochets. So beginning with the first double crochet, make a front post double crochet. Into the next, a back post double crochet. Into the next, front post. Into the next, back post double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for this 5th row, just alternating between a front post and a back post double crochet. At the end of this 5th row, I'm going to have 150 double crochets. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the 5th row. In this row I did front post and back post double crochets. I have a total of 150 stitches. To finish, go on top of the first stitch and make a slip stitch. Now for row 6, chain 2. Now in the 6th row I'm going to increase, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 4 double crochets, then into the next a double crochet increase. So let me show you. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make your first double crochet. Into the next, make a double crochet, that's 2, 3, 4. Now into the next stitch, make a double crochet increase. So make 2 double crochets, and this is how I'm going to continue. I'm going to make 4 double crochets, then into the next a double crochet increase. 4, 2, 4, 2 all around. I'll meet you at the end of this 6th row. I'm here at the end of the 6th row. In this row we did increases. I have a total of 180 double crochets at the end of this 6th row. Now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and make a slip stitch. Now for row 7, chain 2. In the 7th row I'm going to increase, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 5 double crochets, then into the next I'm going to increase. So let me show you. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, that's 1, into the next 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. Now into the next I'm going to make a double crochet increase, so make 2 double crochets here, and then again I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make 5 double crochets and then a double crochet increase. 5, 2, 5, 2 all around. I'll meet you at the end of this 7th row. I'm here at the end of the 7th row. I have a total of 210 stitches. In this row we have increased. To finish, I'm going to go on top of the first double crochet and make a slip stitch. Now for the 8th row, chain 2. In this row I'm going to make front post and back post double crochets. Beginning with this first double crochet, make a front post double crochet. Into the next, a back post double crochet, into the next front post double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for this 8th row, just alternating between a front post and a back post double crochet. At the end of this 8th row, I'm going to have 210 double crochets. I'll meet you at the end. I finished row 8. In this row I did front post and back post double crochets. I have a total of 210 stitches. Now for row 9 I'm going to chain 2. Now in this row what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 13 double crochets, and then into the next I'm going to increase. Now I'm almost at that point where I don't need to make that many increases, so that's why in this row I'm going to make 13, and then into the 14th stitch I'm going to increase. Here I'm just trying to get to the number of stitches that I need before I can divide the sleeves, but first I need to make sure I have the depth here of the sweater, which we still need to make a couple more rows for that. So here for row 9 I'm going to make 13 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13 double crochets. Now into the next stitch I'm going to make a double crochet increase. So make 2 double crochets here, and then again you're going to repeat the same thing. You're going to make 13 double crochets, then into the next a double crochet increase, and that's how you're going to continue for the rest of the 9th row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the 9th row. In this row I have increased. I have a total of 225 double crochets at the end of this row. To finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 10 I'm going to chain 2. Now in this 10th row I'm going to increase, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 14 double crochets, then into the next I'm going to make a double crochet increase. So to begin here I'm going to start with the first double crochet into the first double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 double crochets. Now into the next I'm going to make a double crochet increase, and this is how you're going to continue for the 10th row. You're going to make 14 double crochets, then into the next a double crochet increase, 14, 2, 14, 2 all around. At the end of this 10th row you're going to have 240 double crochets. Continue. I'll meet you at the end of this 10th row. I finished row 10. In this row we have increased. I have a total of 240 double crochets. Now I'm not going to increase anymore. I have the number of stitches that I need. What I did was I just measured around my son's chest, including the arms, and then I used my gauge here to get the number of stitches that I need for the chest measurement. The only thing I need to do now is the depth. I need to make sure that from here, the top of the shoulder to here, it measures about 7 inches, which is about 17.5 centimeters. Now, as it is from shoulder to shoulder, is measuring about 33.5 centimeters, which is, let's see, it's 13.25 inches, which is the measurement that I took from my son from shoulder to shoulder. So I have the measurement that I need now to continue, and I have the stitches that I need in order to divide the sleeves once I have the depth measurement here of the yoke. I still need to make a couple more rows because as it is, I still need to make, let's see, it's about 5 inches. Let's see. Yes, it's about 12 centimeters, 12.5 centimeters. So I need this to be about 17.5 centimeters, or about 7 inches. So we're going to work a couple more rows here until I have that measurement. So here, to continue, I'm not going to increase anymore. So what I'm going to do for row 11 is I'm going to make front post and back post double crochets. So chain 2, and beginning with this first double crochet, make a front post double crochet, into the next back post double crochet, into the next front post double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for row 11. At the end of this row, I'm going to have 240 stitches. Continue, I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of the 11th row. In this row, I did front post and back post double crochets. I have a total of 240 stitches. From here on, we're always going to have 240 stitches. Now, to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now, what we're going to do next is I'm going to continue with the pattern until I have the depth measurement here for the yoke. For me, like I said, it's a little bit under 7 inches. So what I'm going to do next for the next 6 rows is I'm going to continue with the pattern. I'm going to make 2 rows of just double crochets and then 1 row of front post and back post double crochets. So for row 12 and 13, we're going to make these rows here of double crochets, and then for row 14, I'm going to make a row of front post and back post double crochets. For row 15 and 16, that's going to be again the 2 rows here of double crochets. So that's how we're going to continue. I'm not going to show you because it's exactly the same thing we have done here for the pattern, not the increases. So we're just going to make rows where we don't increase anymore. We have the number of stitches. So to begin here for row 12, I'm going to chain 2, and on top of each one of these stitches, I'm going to make a double crochet, just like this all around. Once I finish row 12, for row 13, I'm going to repeat the same thing. For row 14, I'm going to make front post and back post double crochets, and then the same thing for the next 2 rows, double crochets. And I'm going to place a stitch marker here to mark these rows here. So continue. I finished making row 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we did 2 rows of double crochets, then 1 row of front post and back post double crochets, and then 2 rows of double crochets. In total, I have 16 rows. So at the end of the 16th row, I have a total of 240 stitches. Now, I have the measurement that I need. Like I said, for the yoke, it's measuring from the top here, the neckline, to the end of the last row. As it is, it's measuring about 16 centimeters, which is about 6.25 inches. Now, in the next row, row 1, we're going to divide the sleeves. So to do this, I'm going to show you how I divide the sleeves. Here's the formula that I use. I have 240 stitches at the end of the last row. I'm going to divide this by 5. That gives me 48. So that means that each one of the sleeves is going to have 48 stitches. Now, to figure out the stitches for the front and the back, you're going to divide 240 divided by 2, that equals 120, minus 48, that gives me 72. So that means that for the front and the back, I'm going to have 72 stitches. So if I were to divide the sleeves with these numbers, this is how it would look. 48 and 48 for each one of the sleeves, and 72 and 72 for the front and the back. But what I like to do instead is I like to take 2, 4, or sometimes even 6 stitches from the back and add them to the sleeves. So what I'm going to do for this sweater is I'm going to take 4 stitches from the back and 4 stitches from the front and add them to the sleeves. So this is how I'm going to divide the sleeves. For the front and the back, I'm going to have 68, and for each of the sleeves, I'm going to have 52. For some reason, every time I do this, where I take 2 or 4 stitches from the front and the back and add them to the sleeves, it always works for me. So that's what I do. If you want to take a screenshot of this formula, there it is. That's how I do it. And this works for knitting as well. When you have a round yoke, you can do that as well. It works perfectly. So here, to continue with the first row where we're going to divide the sleeves, this here from now on is going to be on the back side. This is where we were finishing each row. So here Let me show you first how I place my stitch markers. From this first stitch marker up to here, I have 68 stitches. From here up to here, which is for the first sleeve, I have 52 stitches. From here up to here, this is the front, I have 68 stitches. And from here up to here, it's for the second sleeve, I have 52 stitches. So here, to continue with the first row here and divide the sleeves, I'm going to chain 2. Now, I'm going to continue with the pattern, so I need to make this row into front post and back post double crochet. So beginning into this first double crochet, I'm going to start with a front post double crochet. Next one, back post double crochet, front post double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to work these 68 double crochets. So continue. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to separate the first sleeve. I finished making these 68 front post and back post double crochets for the back side. This last stitch here is a back post, so now to divide the sleeves, I'm going to chain 1. Here, I'm only going to chain 1, but if you want to chain more to add to the chest measurement, you can. There is no stitch multiple, so you can add more chains. The only thing is that when we make the sleeves, you're probably going to have more stitches for the sleeves than what I'm going to have, but you can easily adjust that as well. So here, to divide the first sleeve, I'm going to skip 52 double crochets, and I'm going to go into the next double crochet after the stitch marker. So here I need to, let's see, I have a back post. This chain is going to be a front and then a back. So I need to start with a back post double crochet here in this first stitch for the front. So now I'm just going to continue with the pattern, a front post double crochet into the next, back post double crochet into the next, and so on. Continue, finish these 68 double crochets for the front. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to separate the second sleeve. I finished making these 68 front post and back post double crochets for the front side. Now to divide the second sleeve, I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip 52 double crochets for the second sleeve, and to finish the row, I'm just going to go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this first row where we have divided the sleeves. At the end of this row, I have a total of 138 double crochets. We have 68 and 68 for the front and the back, plus the extra stitch under each sleeve. That's a total of 138 stitches at the end of this first row. Now for the second row, I'm going to continue with the pattern, so I'm just going to make a row of double crochets. So chain 2, and here I'm going to make a double crochet into the first double crochet and a double crochet into each one of these stitches all around. Now, when you get here under the sleeves where we have this chain, all you're going to do is just make one double crochet and then continue, and then do the same thing here under the second sleeve. At the end of this second row, we're going to have 138 stitches. I'm here at the end of this second row. This is where I did double crochets all around. I have 138 stitches at the end of this second row. Now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 3, I'm going to chain 2, and here I'm going to continue with the pattern. So in this row, I need to make another row of double crochets. So beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, on top of the next, a double crochet, a double crochet into the next, and so on. I'm just going to continue all around and work double crochets. At the end of this row, the third row, I'm going to have 138 stitches as well, and for each row from here on, like I said, we're always going to have 138 stitches. Now to finish the row, you're just going to go on top of the first stitch, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then for the fourth row, you're going to make the row of front post and back post double crochets. We're going to continue and repeat this pattern where we make 2 rows of double crochets, and then the third row is front post and back post double crochets. And that's how I'm going to continue for the rest of the body. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do here, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do here. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished making the body. I did a total of 27 rows. So from here where we separated the sleeves up to here, there's 27 rows. The last 2 rows that I did were the rows here of double crochets. And at the end of each one of these rows, I always had 138 stitches. Now, what we're going to do next here is the hem, but before the measurement from right under the sleeve right here up to here, it's measuring about 28 centimeters, which is about 11 inches. From the top of the neckline to the end here of the last row, it's measuring about 42 centimeters, which is about 16.5 inches. So now we're going to go here and start on the hem. Now here at the end of row 27 of the body, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop. Now for the hem, I'm going to change yarn color. I'm going to be using this very dark green. It's by the same brand. This is in the color Evergreen. My son wants this sweater to have 2 colors, so I think the green will work perfect with the gray. So to start here, I'm going to go on top of this first stitch, which is the same one that we joined to when we finish the last row. So here, grab a loop, bring it through, chain 1. Now for the hem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make front post and back post half double crochets. So beginning with this first stitch, I'm going to make a front post half double crochet. Into the next, a back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, back post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for row 28, which is the first row here of the hem. And I'm just going to alternate between front posts and back posts half double crochets. Now I'm going to do this for a total of 4 rows. If it's more or less, just continue watching. I always let you know how many rows I do. So to finish this row, you're just going to go on top of the first half double crochet, make a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing. Work these stitches exactly how they are. The first stitch is a front post, so make a front post half double crochet. The next one is a back post, front post, back post, front post, and so on. That's how you're going to work the next 4 rows, and continue watching. I will let you know if it's more or less. So continue, finish the hem, and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. I finished the hem here at the end. I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop. I did a total of 4 rows. So this part here is done. At the end of the video, I'll give you the final measurement. So now what we're going to do is the sleeves. I already did this side, so I'm going to show you how to do it here on this other side. When you do this side, you're going to do it exactly in the same way how I'm going to show you here. So here to begin, we're going to go here to the left side, and right under the sleeve we have this chain, and right into that chain we did a double crochet in the next row after we divided the sleeves. So insert your hook into the chain that we added, so right here, grab a loop here, bring it through there, chain 2. Remember, the 2 chains do not count. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a double crochet decrease, because if I start immediately into this first double crochet out of the 52 that we left for the sleeve, there's going to be a gap, and I don't want that. So to avoid the gap, I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to insert my hook back into this same stitch. This is that chain that we have in the middle, and I'm going to grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over again, and we're going to go into this space. This is the last double crochet that we did before dividing the sleeves. So insert your hook into that space and grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Now this here is a double crochet decrease, which counts as 1 double crochet. The 2 chains do not count. Now we're going to continue with the first double crochet here out of the 52 that we left for the sleeve. Into this first double crochet, I'm going to start with a front post double crochet. Now into the next back post double crochet, into the next front post double crochet, and so on. Here we're going to continue with the pattern. So I have to do the row of front post and back post double crochet. So I'm going to continue like this all around for these 52 double crochets until I come here to this other end. I will meet you right here to show you how I'm going to finish this first row for the first sleeve. I'm here at the end of this first row. I have 53 stitches up to here, including this first one that we did at the beginning. So 52 that we left for the sleeve, plus this one here, that's 53. Now here at the end, I'm going to make a double crochet decrease, just like we did here at the beginning. So to do this, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to go right into this space. This is the last double crochet that we did when we divided the sleeves. So insert your hook there and grab a loop. Leave 2 loops on the hook. Now yarn over and we're going to go right here, right next to the double crochet that we did in the center in the second row of the body. So insert your hook right there in that space. Take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Here's another double crochet decrease. So we have 2 double crochet decreases, one at the beginning and one at the end. So at the end of this first row, I have 54 double crochets. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 2, I'm going to chain 2. Now right into this same stitch here, I'm going to make a double crochet. Now what I'm going to do here for the second row is I'm going to make a double crochet decrease at the beginning and a double crochet decrease at the end. Now one thing before we continue, if you try this on your child and you feel that 52 stitches is too small for the sleeve, then don't do the decreases. I'm doing this because I tried this on my son and for him 54 stitches is too wide. For the second row, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to make a double crochet decrease into these next 2. So grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook on top of the next stitch, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. So here is the double crochet decrease plus the one that I did. I have 2. Now I'm going to continue all around the sleeve, just making double crochets until I come to the last 2 stitches at the end of this second row. So continue. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to finish the second row. I'm here at the end of the second row. Up to here I have 51 stitches and I have 2 stitches left here at the end of the second row. Here at the end I'm going to make a double crochet decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, go into the next stitch, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this second row with a total of 52 double crochets. Now for row 3, I'm going to chain 2. Beginning on top of this first stitch, make a double crochet. Now in this third row, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did in the second row. I'm going to make a double crochet decrease at the beginning and at the end. Again, these decreases are optional. Try this on your child. If you don't need to make these decreases, then you don't have to make them. So here to continue with the third row, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, insert your hook into the next, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Here's the double crochet decrease. Now continue all around the sleeve, just making double crochets until you come to the last 2 stitches here at the end of the third row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the third row. Up to here I have 49 stitches. I have 2 stitches left. Now here to finish, I'm going to make a double crochet decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook on top of the next stitch, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, go on top of the last stitch, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this third row with a total of 50 double crochets all around. From here on, I'm going to continue with 50 stitches. I'm not going to decrease anymore. I'm just going to continue for the rest of the sleeve. So here to begin the fourth row, I'm going to chain 2. And in this row, I need to do the row front post and back post double crochets. I'm going to continue with the same pattern that we did here for the body. So beginning with this first double crochet, make a front post double crochet into the next back post double crochet, into the next front post double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for the rest of this fourth row. At the end of this row, I'm going to have 50 stitches. And to finish, just go on top of the first stitch, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then continue with the pattern where you make 2 rows of double crochet, and then in the third row you make the row of front post and back post double crochets. Now I'm going to continue for a total of 33 rows for the sleeve, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I'm going to do the cuff. So continue, make 33 rows, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to do the cuff. I finished making the sleeve. I did a total of 33 rows. So from here up to here, there's 33 rows. My last 2 rows were the rows here of double crochets. So now what we're going to do next is the cuff. Continue watching. If you need this measurement here, I always give you the finished measurement at the end of the tutorial. So here, to make the cuff, I'm going to start here on top of the first double crochet. Here at the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch. Cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop. So with the dark green color here, I am going to chain 1. And here for the cuff, I'm just going to make, beginning with the first double crochet, I'm going to make a front post half double crochet. Next one, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue here for this row, just alternating between a front post and a back post half double crochet. Now to finish the row, you're just going to go on top of the first stitch, this first half double crochet, join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing for the second row. And continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do here for the cuff. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished making the cuff. Here I did a total of 4 rows, just like I did for the hem. And here at the end, all I did was just join to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop, and this part here is done. So now the sleeve is done, and this is how it looks. So what you're going to do with the other side, it's exactly the same thing I showed you here for this sleeve. It's done exactly in the same way, which is what I did. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to make the neckline. So for the neckline, I'm going to go here to the back side. This is where we were joining at the end of each row when we were doing the yoke. So we're going to start right here, right at the top. This is the first row that we did of double crochets. So here between the chains and the first double crochet on this side, on the left side, insert your hook. So right there, I'm going to use the green yarn here to do this part. So insert your hook there, grab a loop, chain 1. Now right into this same space here, make a half double crochet. Now between the next 2 double crochets, make a half double crochet. So it's this here, this is an increase. So make a half double crochet between these 2 stitches, a half double crochet between the next 2, a half double crochet between the next 2, and so on. Here I'm just going to work half double crochets all around for this first row of the neckline. And when you see the increases where we have 2 double crochets, you're just going to insert your hook between those 2 double crochets and make the half double crochet. And that's how you're going to continue here all around. So continue for this first row of the neckline. I will meet you here at the end. I'm here at the end of this first row. For the neckline, I have a total of 100 half double crochets up to here. Now, if you have a couple stitches less or more, it's okay. The important thing here is that it's in multiples of 2. Now, to finish the row, I'm going to go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now, for row 2, I'm going to chain 1. Here, I'm going to start with a front post half double crochet into this first half double crochet, and then a back post half double crochet into the next. If you have a hard time making front post and back post stitches, then what you can do here for the neckline with a slightly smaller hook size, go ahead and make maybe 1 or 2 rows here of half double crochets all around. It's going to look different, but it's still going to look nice. But make sure to go down half a hook size so that the neckline is a bit smaller. Now into the next, make a front post, into the next a back post. From here on, this part here is the same how we did the cuffs and the bottom or the hem of the sweater. I'm just going to alternate between a front post and a back post half double crochet. So continue, and I'll meet you here at the end. I'm here at the end of the second row. My last stitch here is a back post. I have 100 stitches. To finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for this sweater, I'm going to do 4 rows. So I'm going to start you off with the third row, and then you're going to finish the third row and then make 1 more row. So here you're going to chain 1, and beginning with this first stitch, start with a front post half double crochet, into the next a back post half double crochet, front post into the next, back post into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for the third row, which is the same thing I did in the second row, just alternating between a front post and a back post half double crochet. Now to finish the row, you're just going to go here to the beginning with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then do the same thing for the fourth row. You can do as many rows as you want. Just make sure that the fit here of the neckline is fine. It's not too tight and it's not too loose. So that would be up to you as to how many rows you need here around the neckline. For the size that I'm making this based on my son's size. He's almost 9, so I would say this sweater is for 8 to 9 years old. So let's finish the neckline, and then I'll come back and show you the finished sweater. I finished making the neckline here. At the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and passed my yarn through that last loop. In total, I did 5 rows, including the first row that we did of half double crochets, and then I did 4 rows here of front post and back post half double crochet. So the neckline is all done, and this is how it looks. Now if you notice, I went ahead and did this here around the yoke, so I'm going to show you how I did this here. Let's see, I did it in the second row here of the neckline. That would be row, let's see, the second row, front post and back post double crochets that we did. I did a total of 100 chains, and then I just weaved it all around. And then the next row, I did it on row 5 of the front post and back post double crochets, and there I did a chain of about 150. And then the next row would have been row 7. And I did a chain of 210 chains, and then just weaved it around. And then the next row would have been row 11 of front post and back post double crochet. So I chained 240 chains, and I just weaved it around. And I am currently right here. This would be row 14, and here I have chained 250 chains. I am going to have some left, so I want to show you how I'm doing this. It's done exactly in the same way for each one of the rows. So what you do is you make a long chain. So for this one here, I did 250 chains, and I started here on the back side. All of these here, I started here along the back side. As you can see, I have the tail ends of the yarn here left. I'm going to cut that off, and just don't worry about that once this part here is done. So I start here on the back side, and I just go through the row of front posts and back post double crochets, and I just basically weave my yarn on top. So here I went all around the front, and I'm here, I went over the shoulder, so I'm here on this side. So all I do is just weave this long chain like this through this row. This is row 14, and I did the same thing for each one of the rows here for the yoke, and I just weave this here like this. And once I get to the beginning, I'm going to show you what I did. There, I'm at the end. So all I do now is, I know I'm going to have some chains left. Here's the beginning. I've already cut my yarn. So all you're going to do is just adjust this chain that's here. Just pull it like this and just go all around adjusting it. What I do is I pull and then tug on it like this and then go around. Make sure you pull. And I'm here at the end, so now just pull this. There. So here's that end. Now undo these chains. There, I undid a couple of chains there. Now put this on the inside. Pull it through. And now from the inside, you're going to join this end with the beginning of the chain. So just with a crochet hook, insert your hook through the first chain and through this last chain here, and pull it through and join with a slip stitch. Now you can cut your yarn here. Pull this through. With this tail end here, you can tie a knot, and this part here is done. Just cut your yarn and make sure that you adjust it nicely so it's nice and straight all around. So this is how it looks here. This is where we started, and now this is how it looks on the inside. Cut your tail ends so the yoke is done. So that's how you would do each one of these rows of front post and back post double crochets. I started here at the top, like I said, and I just chained the same number of stitches that I had at the end of this row, and then the same thing at the end of this row, and so on. So this part here is done. Here's the front of the sweater. So now let me give you the finished measurements. So from the top of the neckline to the end of the sleeve here, it's measuring about 54 centimeters, which is about 21.25 inches. From under the sleeve to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring about 33 centimeters, which is about 13 inches. And I forgot the width of the sleeve. Let's just measure this. It's measuring about 12 centimeters, which is 4.75 inches. The total length from the top of the shoulder actually to the end here, it's measuring about 51 centimeters, which is about 20 inches. And this measurement here, I think this is the length of the yoke. So from here to here, it's measuring about, let's see, 8.25 inches, which is about 21 centimeters. And the waist, or actually the chest, just the top. The chest is measuring about 37 centimeters, which is about 14.5 inches. So based on these measurements, this sweater here is for a child between 8 and 9 years old. You can certainly make it smaller or bigger. I'd say from 6 to 7 years old and bigger up to 15 years old. Down here in the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you some information on how you can easily make it smaller. So be sure to check that out. This sweater is all done, and I love the end result. My son loves it. I'll go ahead and leave some pictures at the end so you can see how it fits on him. He wanted a gray and green sweater, so here it is. It's all done. Now he wants another sweater with a different yoke style, so stay tuned for that. I think I'm going to be making more larger size sweaters. He's into wearing sweaters now, so I don't mind. I like that actually, so stay tuned for those. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, and before I go, don't forget, if you prefer a written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box. Thank you so much for your support. Your support helps us immensely. You don't know how much, so I really, really appreciate it. So this was today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.